Hello?
Hi, Tracy. Happy
Hi.
holidays.
Hi, you guys. How's my
Eh,
favorite cook?
We're
Good.
okay. We're
How have you
better
been?
now that you're here.
Excellent.
Okay, so we'll do the usual, Trace, where
Yeah,
I'll
so,
share my screen.
right, we'll just share your screen.
Okay, so we've been talking about energy. First of all, I want to congratulate you on your flip on to the long side of oil. Took a lot of people by surprise, not you. And the oil shares were um, really played a lot of catch up in the last quarter. One of the most hated groups in the market, and it ended up being the star, I believe, in November, along with banks. So, what are you thinking here? We had that huge day yesterday with a little, three drive to a top formation over here that I saw.
I'm, yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. I
So,
mean, yesterday was kind of, it was kind of a combination of a lot of things. First, it was futures expiry yesterday.
okay,
So, you had a lot of last minute roll. And then, of course, we had the UK tier four, right?
yeah,
And then we had all the airline or all those countries say that they didn't, that
couldn't
they were
fly.
suspending flights,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And then you also had the CDC who said they launched an investigation into those 6 people that had anaphylaxis over the COVID shot. So there was
yeah,
and then we had the stimulus bill that still hadn't passed yet that was $600. So, um,
yeah.
it
I
was kind of
know.
like,
I know that I'm going to retire now.
right.
Uh, you know, I want to
Just put
ask
your
you.
$600 in leveraged futures and you'll be okay.
Yeah, what?
Don't
I was
don't
going to
spend
bring
it
it
all
up,
in one place, Dale.
and
Don't spend it
Steve,
all in one
stay
place.
here because I was going to bring this up during the session. So part of the stimulus bill, and I think it was left in, was something that limited the Fed's ability for a lending facility. I think that ended up in the bill. Do you guys know, Steve? Do you know, or Tracy?
Um, I I'm going to assume that it did, but I don't
Okay,
know.
Yeah,
well,
I think they let some of the lending facilities expire, but that doesn't really tell me anything because they've proved that they can like create, extend, open up facilities at the blink of an eye. You know what I mean?
well, this is the first time, though, you've seen any kind of legislation trying to limit the power of the Fed. Okay, I mean, why are
Limit
you
the power
laughing?
of the
Is it
Fed. I'm
limit?
I'm
Well,
laughing, Dale, because last week I'm talking about a single week. M2 money supply expanded by a quarter of a trillion.
The numbers are so obscene now, right now,
Yeah,
yeah,
we're talking about a week,
which is insane.
right?
wow. Okay, well, I'm just, there are a lot of people that, don't really care for the Fed. In fact, one of your fans, Harold Malcolm, Tracy, I was talking to him yesterday. He brought you up out of the blue. Do you know her? She's fantastic. You have fans everywhere, and he said that what Paul has been doing and talking about really he he's not real happy about what the Fed has done. I think there is going to be a movement to limit the power of the Fed. Maybe that's
How exactly are they going to do that? Do you know how much of the US debt expires within the next 12 months, Dale? Just give me a number.
uh, a trillion.
$7 trillion. Who's going to buy that?
Well, I can't do it with my stimulus check. So
Just put that number in context. $7 trillion of US debt expire within the next 12 months, and if I'm not mistaken, 1 trillion of that expires within the next month. Who's
wow.
going to buy? Who's going to absorb all that?
They're just going to have to roll it over. Is what
Yeah,
they have to do.
yeah. There was a movie called Rollover. Do you remember that, Tracy? I
I,
think Chris Christopherson was in it, and that was a big thing that they couldn't roll over the debt, and financial Armageddon happened, and it made rates spike. because
Yeah,
people were
not
bidding
even in
up for fun.
Hollywood they could imagine what would be happening in the beginning of the next millennia, right?
Yeah. So anyway, so Trace, with this kind of
Harold is
backdrop,
wonderful. So
huh?
Harold is wonderful.
Yeah.
Very nice of him to bring him.
I mean, what a lot of wisdom. When I look at
Incredible.
what he's done with his life, I couldn't list all of the things and presidents and committees and work that he has done in a 30-minute interview. And he said that he has more satisfaction working in the public sector than the government sector. So let's go back to this COVID. Let's say that there is going to be some impact from what's happening with countries closing down. What range or where's the floor? Technically, Steve thinks around 42. Do you think that's viable?
I mean,
That
I think
crude
that this, well, first of all, I think this market was a little bit stretched and we kind of needed that pullback, right?
Mhm.
So, for me, that this is a good thing, but I'm still not looking to shorten this market. I will still be a buyer on dips. So I think between 42, 44 and 45 for a
Okay.
pullback.
Okay.
Would not be out of the question. I don't know if it will get there, but definitely, I think that a little bit of air out of this market is not a bad thing.
It'd be healthy. And how have those shares performed? You were talking about you wanted to have some exposure to the oil industry in Africa. I think
I
it
think
was at
that
Ghana.
we were talking about that at the Trader Summit, and I believe right after that, Dale, which was one of the companies that I had mentioned, that's East Med Gas. I think it jumped like 100 points.
Wow.
In the month after, just right after that, we talked about it. So, I
Nice.
did give a few companies that I really like, and I still,
Congratulations.
I still like those. I'm still
What's a symbol of that,
over the
Tracy, so I
over
could
the
give people a visual of it?
It's on the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange.
Okay.
And I think I just looked the company up. They're like
I just want to say shalom to it.
DEL.
Okay, so do you know the symbol?
No, I don't off the
Okay.
top of my head right now.
Okay.
DEL.
All right. Okay, so continue. Okay, so floor around here.
So I think, 44 between 45 and 44. We're coming also seasonally, even though seasonality is somewhat skewed because of everything that's going on, but we're still seasonally like into the end of December. December 31st is tax assessment for oil companies and what they have on stock. So generally, we do see an uptick at the end of December because they're just trying to get rid of barrels, right? So we start seeing big draws. So crude price picks up, generally speaking, because they don't want to be taxed on, obviously, everything.
Okay.
So that's just something to keep in mind.
Okay.
And then, usually we see kind of that peak in January, then we kind of see it back off a little bit. And then mid-February and February, then we start seeing a bounce again into the spring when demand picks up. So that's the general outline of, say, the seasonality charts. Now, things are different, obviously, because of all these lockdowns and all of COVID and things like that. But we still have maintained the general, aside from April, we still have maintained the general seasonality trend, believe it or not, this whole year.
Okay. All right. So still constructive going into 2021. I want to get your view, and I know you were more specifically watching Euro. This is one of the most crowded trades on the board, the bearishness in the dollar.
Yes.
Any comments on, people being on one side of the boat? I've asked people, what could be the narrative? I asked Harold yesterday, all the narratives are bearish. Fed printing, you just heard Steve, talk about the balance sheet and what's happening on the fiscal side, all of it on the surface, and obviously looks like it's completely bearish a dollar. Do you have any narrative that you could think of that could be positive for the dollar besides potentially risk off in equities?
Yeah, I mean, I think that what we need to be looking at, and I tweeted something out today, EU banks that are very susceptible right now to loan loss, right? They don't have enough loan loss provision. So if you start seeing bad things happen in EU banks, that's not going to fare well for the euro, right?
Okay,
And
yeah. So that's like bringing back a story from a long time ago that's gone uncovered, or at least not paid attention to, that perhaps there could be some solvency issues with maybe Italian banks or
exactly
Spanish.
with actually all EU banks. They said there was a survey of 127 banks, and none of them were properly funded.
Maybe that's is that why we might be having a flow into U.S. banks, because they took the loan loss provisions and they're in better shape?
Yeah, they're definitely in better shape and have been in better shape. And I think we're seeing we've seen an extra flow this week because they've allowed buybacks back, right? And JPM and I think who is it? JPM and somebody else came out right away and said they were doing 30 million worth of buybacks. So that's kind of given the financial sector a little bit of boost this week just on the surface. Another dollar bullish narrative would be, and I don't know if I completely buy into it, but the other narrative that is sort of flowing around is that Yellen will be bullish for the dollar. As
in what way?
Terry. Yeah, I know, believe it or not, but that's the narrative. But that isn't.
You mean just jawboning it, or are there things that she could do?
She wants to push the stronger dollar narrative. Now that remains to be seen, but that's what some of these banks are floating right now.
Interesting. Yeah, I wonder what kind of technical operations the Treasury, besides intervention.
Well, they could stop swap lines and things like that. And, if that starts to happen, that definitely will give the dollar a boost.
Okay. I think that also helps us in any kind of economic battle with China, that I've read that actually a stronger dollar. Most people think a weaker dollar is our advantage and China's disadvantage, but I've read that it's actually the opposite. So you pay attention to all the currencies. You have any levels that you might be interested in maybe putting on some short positions in euro?
I mean, really, that would be dollar dependent. I mean, right now it looks overbought, but you can always get more overbought.
Yeah.
But I would say, if that, what was the high back in 2018?
You mean 140 or 125? Here's
that
18.
125, right? So I think to get up to around that 120, if right now it kind of looks like it's at resistance, but should it go up into kind of that high volume area back from 2018, 124, 125, but we're really, getting overcooked here.
Okay. I know that you're also a trader and follower of the shiny stuff. Any view on, what's happened with gold? We recently, held this weekly 50 and rallied back. Yesterday, gold really didn't recover as much of its losses as, say, the euro did or the S&P. View on gold still constructive?
I mean, I'm still constructive on it, but as I think we talked about last time, I thought that we kind of had hit the peak for the year at
2070.
Yeah, and that we were kind of going to consolidate for the rest of the year, and that's kind of exactly what we have been doing. So, at the fact that gold should be more bullish. It should have reacted more bullishly yesterday with everything that was going on. So that kind of leads me to think that we're just still in this kind of consolidation period right now.
Do you think Bitcoin is siphoning some flow from gold?
I mean, that's what people are saying, and I mean, quite possibly. But the thing is that I don't, you know, I don't. I think
I don't
that
understand
that
Bitcoin.
fund managers that are, that are long gold, probably, already have their, 5% or whatever as part of their portfolio. They don't really trade it, right? They just hang on to it. Whereas Bitcoin is just seeing a big influx of capital from funds all of a sudden, as well as retail space and things like that. So I don't think it's necessarily money coming out of gold. I think managers are still holding their gold positions as they do for a hedge. It's just that they're not trading so much.
You get any changes in any of the markets that you foresee with the new administration coming into the U.S.?
Yeah, I mean, I think with the new administration, I mean, coming in, we just had Pete Buttigieg. He was the nominee for Secretary of Transportation. When he accepted that nomination last week, he did re-emphasize that, that we're going to build America back better, right? So they were going to push a lot of infrastructure projects. So that is very material and energy intensive kind of projects. So looking into the future, into the next administration, if these sort of projects get pushed through, that's going to be very bullish for the energy sector and very bullish for the materials sector.
So industrial cyclicals, that type of, it's not as much reopening as it is infrastructure type of trade,
like
right?
they're talking about his infrastructure project includes building new roads, fixing bridges, things like that. So, all your materials and whatnot would be very bullish at that point if these projects actually get off the ground.
Anything else on the radar for you, Trace, that you want to talk about?
No, I mean, don't forget, I'm at Hedge Fund Telemetry. So, love for anybody to take a trial. I do materials and energy.
There you are.
There I am. I do materials and energy, as well as some broad strokes in my weekly reports. There's a trial you can sign up for. We do daily sentiment, DSI index. So I would love everybody to at least try it out.
Give it a shot. I only have Tracy on here every few months, and we'll get back together again in March. So at this time, Tracy, I want to wish you and your family happy holidays. I hope you guys remain untouched by the invisible enemy, and that all your trades turn gold in 2021. Appreciate your input and contribution to what we've done here at ForexAnalytix over the years, and you're my trading warrior sister, and I'm always rooting for you.
Well, thank you very much, and happy holidays and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all you guys over there. I think you guys are all great, and to everybody listening to today, thank you for listening.
Yeah. So here's Tracy's website and hedgefundtelemetry.com, and you could follow her on Twitter at Shy GRL, not GIRL, which I thought it was at the beginning years ago. And thank you, Tracy, and you're really a talented market tactician and forecaster, and we appreciate you bringing your ideas for free to us here at F.A.C.E. Thank you, my trading warrior sister.
Thank you.
All right. Adios.
Great day, everybody.
Happy New Year, everyone. Okay, that's a wrap, and we'll see everyone tomorrow, and that'll be the week. So good hunting, everyone. The rest of the day, go see Blake and chat, and don't forget, don't just count your barrels of oil, your bars of bullion, your stock certificates. Count your blessings. And we'll see everyone tomorrow to wrap up the week. Adios.